It's 2008. I'm 18, and I meet a girl on OKCupid. She's older than me, about 25, educated, and a bit alternative. We agree to meet at a London pub for lunch at 1 in the afternoon. It's quite a journey for me, but I make it anyway. She turns up a bit late with a baby in a carriage. I had no idea she had a kid before this, but I don't have a problem with it. She doesn't acknowledge that I didn't know about her child, only saying that she couldn't find a babysitter. Cool, no problem. We each go up and order a drink separately, then hang out and chat. We've been there for about 2 hours, and she's gone up to the bar multiple times, mostly coming back with coffees and the occasional Coca Cola. Then, quite suddenly, she falls forward onto the table, catches herself with her elbows, lets out a big sigh, and says, "Oh man, I didn't mean to get so drunk." Or, what? I tell her I didn't even realize she'd been drinking, but she says she's been having Irish coffees, rum and cokes, and shots at the bar. At this point, I start looking for an out, but she's becoming more and more despondent, and her 1-year-old is sitting in his pram, so I can't just leave in good conscience. I start encouraging her to get a taxi home, but she begins to cry, apologizing and saying that I must hate her. Shortly after, she closes her eyes and will only respond with mumbles and groans. I try to get her to come around enough to give me an address, but she won't, so I take her phone, which isn't password protected. This was 2008, and most people didn't lock their non-smartphones back then. I find a contact called Mum and call it. I was hoping she could come pick her up, but it turns out Mum lives in the south of Spain. She isn't one bit happy to hear from me after I explain the situation, though I present myself as a friend. Nonetheless, she gives me an address to take her to. I ask the bar to call me a taxi, which they do, and one of the staff takes pity on me, helping me get the woman, the baby, and the stroller into the cab. I was about to give the driver money for the trip and see them off, but I realize that's a bad idea. Who knows what would happen? So I get in the taxi and take her home, holding a baby the entire way, which I'd never done in my life at that point. Turns out the driver is a stand-up bloke. I explain what happened and we have a laugh about it. When we get there, he even assembles the pram for me while I take her and place her on her doorstep. I find her keys and get the door open, at which point some guy pops his head around the corner from the kitchen and asks, "Who the fuck are you?" I tell him my name and that I'm a friend. When I ask who he is, he says he's her fiancé. Uh-oh. He's pretty angry, assuming I got his fiancée drunk in the middle of the day while she was with his child. After getting the pram through the door, he begins carrying her upstairs and says, "You stay right there. You and I need to have a little chat." Nope. As soon as he turns the corner at the top of the stairs, I bolt. I jump back in the taxi and ask the driver to take me to the nearest tube station. Afterward, I needed some catharsis, so I texted some local friends and went out properly. And the kicker? On the train home that night, I get a text message from her. "Had a lovely time. Can't wait to see you again." I block her number and never hear from her again.